Good evening, good people, and welcome to week 4 of the Duck Derby. I'm Saracen, joined in the booth by Mecklin89. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic this evening. How about yourself?
Well, it's a pretty good time when I get to watch these flags get raced. I am a huge fan of the SPL 2024.
I really enjoy these flags as well. I enjoyed the mini tournament that y'all did at SGL. I really enjoyed these flags during Fall League last year. I'm glad they've made a comeback. They're good stuff.
They fit really well in the curriculum, right?
Yeah.
They cover so many bases.
Oh, they cover so many flags that, especially the combinations you wouldn't think to put together, but they work so well. And then they work pretty well for a week 4, determining who's going to be going into the finale this week too, leading right into the final flag set. So let's talk about some blessings. We've got a few fighters. We've got improved Cat Claw and +2 MDef, but -20 strength, which kind of sucks. We're going to be looking for the Bahamut and the X-Cal to make that fighter be worth it. If we can't find an X-Cal, that fighter is probably not going to be doing as well of a job. But that Thief does come with dual wield, so if we find katanas in the shops, that'll be really nice. Also has resistance to +20 vitality and then -150 gold. Nothing too major. Black belt comes with telemagic, which is really nice. Resistance to ice status and lightning, but does come with a -10 hit percent. So you're gonna need a couple more levels to get those breakpoints that you normally want. Not as detrimental as the Malice that we're seeing on the Red Mage, which is the -1 hit percent. Glad it landed on the Red Mage. Comes with exit and wood armor set evade, which can give you an extra 80 evasion if you find all 3 pieces of the wood set.
I think it's 120.
Was it 120? I don't remember. Yeah. I thought it was 80, but it could be 120.
I don't use it much because you can't use a ribbon when you're using that full set.
Right, you can't. Yeah, and that's the one thing that prevents me from wanting to use it. And runners are off. The white mage comes with 10 of vitality and heal plus magic, and the black mage gets an extra 20 HP and heal magic.
Ooh, this is a rough magic start. Zap Quadex probably going to be the things that carry us through. I do want to have a special, this is very close to my heart, call out for Fog 2. Actually an okay spell in the right situations. Sometimes the right situation is, oh god, I have to survive this thing that I don't have any magic to kill it with. So, sometimes Fog 2 okay.
Yeah, I have found it to be quite useful in some situations. Especially if you don't end up finding Invis 2.
I think the biggest thing... Oh, we get a good amount of gold coming out of the chests in Canaria Castle, which is Dwarf. The main thing is it's 12 absorb on every member of your party, which can be very helpful or just kind of a whatever. Titans at Tove. Do we care? I mean, kinda?
Maybe. Depends on how early we get the ruby and how much we get blocked into this inner sea.
So, the pirate fight is actually one of the places where Fog 2 is really funny because it can completely negate all of their damage. Zap doing plenty on Fiera Star's side. There we go. Pirates go.
Missed the one, but that's alright. We had a backup Zap in place.
The loot from Bicky. What is this?
That is fantastic.
If you're not familiar, this is an all-loose flag set, so that could have been a heal pot.
And I think our runners are excited to see a loot there, because that just means we don't have to hunt down every last little chest for that. Now, we might need to do that for something like the key, which could also be something blocking your access into Topher, since we do require that key. Sorry, go ahead.
Matori had a ton of cash in it, by the way. So there was a seed this week that, one of the pickup races where it was a required chime, and that chime was very late in progression.
Ooh, that feels bad.
Yeah. That was an incredibly awkward race.
I can imagine so. So that telemagic and that exit magic is kind of, not as important anymore since we found warp and exit both at level 2 magic. Along with Bane, so, still no damaging magic at the moment, but Bane and Zap can do quite a bit of work.
The other call out here is we are now funneled to one entrance. Dwarf entrance is the only place that we can actually get anything done. This is the nightmare situation in these flags. I just, like, every time that you have terrible magic and you're like, oh, well, there's only one place with stuff, I better go to that one place with stuff. And then it is the ultimate sadness.
Did we pop in Canary Castle and I missed it?
Canary Castle was dwarves.
Oh, okay. I did miss that then.
Cabin and money was all that was available.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't actually see that happening, but it probably happened so quick that, yeah.
One of the little things that I like to do in these flags. Sea Shrine?
Sea Shrine! I'll pick a path.
Oh, okay. Get your Banes ready and run. No, never mind. It's Alt Fiends. It doesn't necessarily work.
It can still work though. It's not as great of a chance, I don't think, but there's still a possibility of it working.
So the reason that this is terrible is we don't have consistent ways to deal with things like Thunder Caribs. And there is so much walking in this place. Like,
yeah, we're in for a good one here. I didn't happen to see if there was any casting magic weapons in the shops. Do we have casting magic, or is it just elite weapons? I'm trying to remember.
It is the elite gear, but that means that the Thor and the Mage Stick and all that can show up too.
Right. I don't recall if we saw that in the shops there early enough to see if maybe we had an out for damaging spells.
So, yes, equip the Coral probably, but the Great Axe is fine too. So this is, again, the situations where you want Fog 2 are exactly the problem that we're seeing right now. Damage poison Arsa Hags?
We're in for a good one tonight.
Man, I don't know if this seat is duck safe.
I don't think it is. I'm probably gonna have to hide after this one. We were discussing the validity of whose seeds are worse, and I think I might have taken the cake on this one tonight.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the other thing that's really horrible to say. By the way, PCMN 1331 did get the key out of the box with the Shark and Arsahag pack.
Turn Order is going to be our friend here.
Running is our friend here on PCMN's side. That is the Oxiel coming up for Siberian Bowl in TFC North. That was the Thunder pack that was problematic before. So Oxiel's sometimes useful, not often. So the thing is, when you're doing this setup of horrible things, you really want to exit after each item,
and I think
which is why the walking sucks.
Yeah, I think that's what PCMN did here. I think we got that. We saw the next box was not so much fun and decided to exit out before we lost the rest of the party, which is a really good decision there. We have 8 chests we can grab out of Dwarf Cave with that key. So maybe we can come back to Sea Shrine a little bit later.
Yeah. So that is not a bad idea, honestly. That's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I would think with the key I would go straight there because we have like I said, it's 8 boxes and one of those could be our actual progression, and all of these boxes in Sea Shrine could end up being junk turn-ins that we don't actually need. Okay, there is a black shirt for sale for 6,500, and it looks like it was in Canaria.
You buy 3 of those.
Absolutely, we had full stack of that. Absolutely,
yeah. For PCMN, you buy 3 of those because that's all you have for characters. You could recruit one, but I think that a lot of players are choosing to go for skinny strats to try to focus that XP.
See, I'm the opposite with these flags. I like to go with as many casters as I can, since the magic is going to be where most of the damage is coming from early on, and since we can recruit party members later on, we can just replace the extra casters that we're not going to end up needing for the end game.
You know what's funny is I've had seeds where I've recruited a replacement caster just so I could fix the spell order. Like I bought the magic wrong, or I promoted and suddenly I needed to change up the magic on a caster, and like a red mage, and I've done that many times.
That's actually a smart play there. I've never actually considered recruiting the same party member just to fix the magic. But I'm very I can't think of the word, but the magic spell reorder flag that's not turned on for these flag set. I'm very much like those, and I lean on that a lot. And when that flag's not on, and I try to move a magic spell for the red mage, I get very sad.
Okay, we're...
Catmans with ruse.
Catmen are not so bad. They don't resist anything, so you can kind of use whatever. But they have decent MDef compared to the man cats. The man cats are very susceptible to zap, though, and I've used that before. I've lost to zap strat grinds before. Isn't that a weird thing to say?
Zapstrat grinds. I don't think I've ever heard that phrase before.
It was bizarre.
I can only imagine a seed that would require Zapstrat grinding to be a bizarre seed.
It was, I believe, one of the Frustrating Friday flag sets that Life Reboot put together.
Ah.
Black belts for sale in Canaria, by the way. I would be marking that down on a tracker if I were the tracking sort of person.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely easy to forget where that's landed. Oh, we know we saw it, but where did we see it at? Especially whenever you get to the end game and you realize I need that black belt to get through Topher, because the double dragons are just too much.
Yep.
Rice. That's our ruby.
That is a big find. The other thing that I would be considering here, because of Bane, is I would have considered diving straight down to Kraken, even though it's replaced, right? But, like, see if I can Bane or Zap the Fiend at the bottom, just get the orb, and get the juicy 50% XP bonus. Yeah, and have that in advance of, like, this box that Siberian Bull is just opening up. The answer is Zap, buddy.
Yeah, Quadex is not going to work on them. I think Zap
Fog 2 coming out. Hey!
Fog 2 strats. I think Zap is the only thing that works on golems, if I'm not mistaken.
They certainly do not resist time.
Yeah, I think that they resist poison and earth, if I remember correctly.
And they are the type of things that just Quad X doesn't work.
Yes. That was the other resist death. Golems resist death. But that is a wipe there for Siberian Bull. We're going to check out the Kraken side? Or is that where we were at? I'm trying to remember who was on which side.
It is so hard to keep track of this because they're having to exit and like reset and deal with all of this nonsense. Kudos to Wildham, who is tracking. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, so the tracking for people is it's a nightmare, especially whenever it's something like Oops All Loose.
Chaotic placement, Oops All Loose in particular. Yeah. To any viewers who may be confused, there are no random encounters anywhere in this flag set, so yeah, that is a thing that matters. Fiera's White Mage desperately... Oh, Sleep Touch on the Earth Elementals? For real?
But Siberian pulled a ship off of these gargoyles here in the sea hallway. So now we can have access to Elfland and hopefully some actual damaging magic.
Yes, Siberian Bull, you are 100% on my wavelength. Get out, new magic time. What in the world do we have available to us? PCMN trying Bane strats? That is not the strat. Oh, out of zaps. Okay, that explains.
We can still 3-2 and 56, I believe. It's just... It's one of those things that's just not going to happen very easily.
Yeah,
so I see Fade, Heal 3, Wall, and I think I saw either... I saw a damaging spell, and it was a level 3 spell, but I didn't quite catch what it was.
Fire 3.
Fire 3, okay. Oh, that's
also black.
A floater.
A floater, you say?
Yes, in the Sea Incentive room. Picked up by Fierastar. So if we can find a canoe here, we're golden in the air, but then that creates the dilemma of which entrance do we want to dive first to try to find our missing progression pieces. If I remember right, we only need a key, a loot, a cube, and a rod for actual endgame progression. Everything else is just a helper, essentially.
Fighters for sale in Elfland. So Lit 3 and Fast notable in the level 4 Black Magic. Life 2 Red learnable in the White Magic level 4.
Those are very nice spells to come across. So now
Siberian Bull now sitting way happier than it was before.
The decision to take a trip down to the Kraken side was definitely a good play there. I think we've checked almost all the boxes on the Mermaid side and decided that we didn't want to try and take any of those down with the little bit of non-damage magic that we had. But we are heading back now to see if we can take out some of those boxes and get a few more items. Inferna is gonna get their ship if they can get these gargoyles to go down. With Zap should take care of them.
So I want to commend every one of the ducks that's running this seed right now. This seed is super rough, and that is that's like understatement of the year for ducks to be running this quality of seed, which is to say butts, and be doing as well as they are is a testament to how far they've come in the course of the boot in the derby. This is awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Looks like we got some stuttering going on Siberian side. I'm going to try and fix that for us.
Fierastar went back and bought the rest of the black shirts, so the Ice 2s can continue to flow. Wow, that's a color palette for those mud goals on PCMN's side. Wizard Stick for Inferna. I'm just gonna say, man, I'm a big fan of the Wizard Stick in some situations. And the fact that it's here now is great.
Yeah, confusion can help you out quite a bit in some situations. I have a seed that I'm doing in our monthly async where my only AoE spells is Invis 8 and Confusion 4. And I'm finding that Confusion is helping me out a lot so that my fighter and my thief can swing a Scimitar +1 with Quick and hopefully take down every enemy. And it's becoming a bit troublesome to get through some of the chests. But, yeah, Confusion is very handy to have. What is it, Fire 1 that it deals damage to?
Yep. And so if you have the improved Fire Ice Lit flag turned on, it does a lot of damage.
Which, is that on for this? No, it is not. Okay.
No, it is not.
Yeah. That would be...
go check out the Dwarf chest.
See, I thought that they would have done this earlier on whenever they came down here, but maybe they did lose that key. I thought that they had come out with the key before, but I guess not. Oh, Badman. Trying to remember, Zap or Bane would be better here.
Bane seems to be working pretty well.
Fierstar also making their way into the Titan's Tunnel. We've got one marked box here. Water Nagas. This is a bit of juicy experience if we had some orbs.
Yeah, throw those shirts up. Why are you zapping if you have 4 black shirts?
Yeah,
weak to ice enemies.
That's one of those things that's always confused me about waters being weak to ice and not weak to lightning. In my brain, water enemies would be weak to lightning, but I guess that's not... It makes more sense to be weak to ice because you can freeze the water, whereas water conducts electricity, so...
For the crystal, and we actually know where Matoya is, but where does the Titan's Tunnel take us? To Sarda's place.
Yep, no, we want to go check that entrance just in case. We thought about leaving it behind there for just a moment. Oh, Bahamut.
Promotion, okay. I'm 100% on board for this. And saving because of the possibility of there being checks down here.
Yeah, there should be 13 chests down here.
Bull also coming up on it. Does look like there are a couple of marked boxes.
I saw at least 3. Yeah, it looks like we got 3 chests down here. Siberian Following, Fiera. Ooh, a Roostic.
5.
And a Bane Sword.
+5. Wow. Defense +5 is legit weapon. Like, I'd be equipping that in a heartbeat. The safety check. Am I ready for this? Oh, are you ready for this? I think so. This is black shirt o'clock.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Did we throw out a zap there? We did. I don't think this is going to work as well against the green dragons.
The Gasties are weak to ice, so the black shirts are going to be very good.
Right. If I remember right, they have a pretty decent high MDEF too, so throwing out zaps is likely not going to do much for you. Yeah, exactly. We definitely want the ice twos. And that was a canal picked up in one of the left chests in Bahamut's trove.
So with the floater having been found, I worry about that canal being something that is not necessary and could theoretically show bad results.
Yeah, because that gives us access to what? Onrak, where we have the Oxial. if we found the chime, well, Inferno has the chime, so we could visit Mirage with that, and then the only other place is Crescent Lake, I think. Or do we have Bahamut's dock on?
Also the Melman Continent.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean it's 2 entrances in a town, but
it's not important. Just memory hole those. It'll be fine. There's nothing important there.
Never is.
It's just going to end up being two of the Cardias, which we don't need, right?
Right.
But we got a cube also out of Bahamut's Trove. And Furnace.
Very required.
Furnace found Sarda. I didn't see where we walked in for that.
I didn't see either. Oh, just Elf Castle.
Okay.
Which Siberian Bull skipped out on. So Bull is in this very interesting position of that fighter going to get juicy, or thief, whatever it is.
I think it's a thief.
Yeah. Yeah, level 20 all of a sudden, because soloing Gasties is kind of a big deal. Star also heading on out of there.
Yeah, we've got what we can out of here. We're going to move on. What did we get? Canal, slab, and cube. Okay. So slab,
I mean, the cube is required. Yes. So we got that.
Inferno picked up a rod somewhere. Oh, Inferno got the chime and the rod over on the Sharknado side.
Oh, there was also a ribbon that was just picked up by Inferno on the ice drop-down floor.
That is a very nice find. There's a chance we could find ribbons in a shop somewhere. They could be anywhere from, like, I think it's like 20k to 60k. So finding a free one is really nice. They also just might not exist in a shop too.
Yep.
Ooh, our Hanklio's on the spike tile here.
Pass.
Yeah, I don't know that I would be checking that chest for that. Like, a Pro Ring's nice, but at the same time, it's not as nice as having to take our Ankleos twice.
So one thing I do want to call out, based on the blurses that we have tonight, about White Mage having life 1, was that a Vorpal plus 4? I think it was, on Inferno's side, in the 6-pack. Anyway, the life 1 is on in battle, and that is very strong. That makes a difference in these flags.
I think the Black Mage also comes with it as well.
Yup.
So that's
sure does.
Very nice to have 2 casters with that life magic.
Alright, Inferno has completed ice, also hit a max gold chest, so sitting pretty on that front.
Okay, finding Astos, but we don't have a chime. We do have the key, so we can check 3 chests over here.
Fun fact, you can check whether those are marked boxes from Astos' room if you just move 1 tile to the left walking.
Yeah, that's a very nice way to check these chests, especially if you don't have the key. You can pop in, see if they're marked. If they're not, no worries. We don't need to worry about coming back when we find a key.
Fiera about to get that ship and finally escape the magic problem. This is such a horrific start, and as soon as you get that ship, life becomes easy.
becomes very easy. The magic in Elfland was very kind, considering what we started with.
Why did the Catmen have Blaze, and did I not see this until just now, 27 minutes into the seed?
I don't think they cast it until just now.
Oh!
Finally got deep enough into the script.
Wow.
But we're having to walk this thief out, and I'm glad it's a thief that we're walking out and not something else like a caster. Because the thief at least has a better chance to run. Oh, we don't have encounters. What am I talking about? We don't have encounters. Never mind.
I was just waiting for you to get to that.
My brain, it's taking a little bit to process things tonight.
You know what? These flags were like that during every competitive stage. So don't worry, we've all been there.
These flags actually helped my my step routing. Not having the encounter is being able to walk across the floors and not have to worry about running into encounters and slowing down my muscle memory. Definitely helped out a lot. So if anybody out there struggles with their step routing in dungeons or even on the overworld, turning off encounters is a great way to handle that. You get the muscle memory down for where you need to go and which steps are the free steps and such to follow the maps that the community has up on the wiki. I believe Darkmoon has updated for most of the maps now. I think we have step routes for.
I think all of them.
Yeah, I think they do. Even something like the short ice floor, where you down, up, right, down. The scenic route. Okay, so we're picking up an adamant. Wildham calling out toxic arachnids somewhere.
So there was the question a while ago about who rolled this, and I just want to reinforce that it was not my fault.
I will take the blame, the credit, whatever you want to call it. It was me. I will say, though, that Danny suspiciously had internet problems 5 minutes before the seed had to be rolled, so...
It was the toxic arachnids. I don't think Fierastar has worked down to Elfland yet to get the real magic and is still relying on the black shirts.
Yeah, I think that's where we're at right now. Inferna is going to take a dip into the Kraken side. We'll get a first look at a Fiend here.
So these Fiends can be very informative, and they at the same time can be kind of like, well, what do I do with this?
I think the rule that I came up with was that if it was a humanoid, Bane would work.
That's a pretty good rule. That's relatively accurate to the situation.
But if we coming up in something like Evil Elf, I'm trying to remember what Evil Elf is even weak to. Let's see if I can find my...
Rubs the White Mage. I'm going to be honest. Oh, wow. Just straight up resets. You can life one out of that situation. Like the Black Mage having life from the heal magic. And this is one of those things, you know, we're 32 minutes into a very complex, challenging seed. Forgetting that the heal magic on the Black Mage is relevant, 100% understandable.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
In the moment, you're not thinking about the Black Mage having the life magic. So I did take a peek, and Evil Elf does have a weakness to poison. So Bane works really well here.
That is good to know.
I used to have a little chart whenever I ran these for Fall League that I had up, and I don't know what I ever did with the chart, but I have the guide on the wiki pulled up right now to take a peek at. So
I usually solved the problem with more tempers, but we don't have that yet.
no, we haven't seen Temper. We haven't seen... I think we saw Fast.
Yes, we saw Fast at level 4. Now, my rule of thumb is if you don't see Temper in the first 4 levels, you're going to swap to a black belt. Just know that you're going to do that. So, we'll just keep that in mind. Keep that piece of information in our back pocket. All right, Fiera has been to Elf.
I think
I just want to also point out, look at how full Fiera Star's tracker is right now. And note, in the missing, no canoe.
And that canoe is gating our progress to everything else.
Literally everything else.
But that is nice, though, that we, at least for Fierstar, knowing that the canoe is the only item we need. Because once we get that canoe, we have the airship, we're in the air, we just need to track down where our other 3 Fiend dungeons are at, and where Temple of Fiends is. Since we already have the key, we already have the loot, we're pretty much good to go. We'll just need levels, too.
Did you just see that Siberian Bull landed the zap on Evil Elf for the kill, and is our first lit orb at 34.5 minutes in?
I saw the kill, I didn't see that what took the Evil Elf down, so Zap strat's coming out very nice. It's always
Zap
nice.
strats were legit.
Yeah. Don't sleep on Zap. I know doing practices of these definitely made me appreciate things like Bane, Zap, and Quake. I think we're frozen.
One of the things that these flags really honed in on for me, and why they were still, one of my favorites out here, is the necessity of weird tactics. Right?
Yes.
Like, so many flag sets feel kind of the same, and it's like, oh, I have this bit of progress, I'm going to be able to get here, and, I have the resources to do it. With entrance shuffle and the bad magic, you're put into a very different place. And man, this was the crucible of learning. I got to do so many goofy strats, and I mean, I talk about the Thief Punch gif all the time.
Oh, that's an amazing thing to see.
Yeah, that seed, Temper was our damage spell. And it stayed that way for an unfortunately long amount of time.
That is definitely a strat.
Ooh, X-Cal for sale, +4.
Okay, so suddenly the -20 strength doesn't hurt as bad, since we're going to get type damage bonus from that X-Cal.
Also note, Fieristar found a Masa, but it was -3.
Yeah, that's not going to do much.
No, not really at all.
I mean, we could give it to one of our casters for fun. Just
Yep.
here, play with this. Don't poke your eye out.
Fieristar, I want to point this out. Saving at the junction, the king has the canoe.
What?
Oh,
Oh, wow. Okay.
but saving at the junction here. By the way, this is item go mode for Fieristar. Like, we are get some levels, find some orbs, get out.
We are beelining it to the airship.
But setting that save there so that if there was nothing in, you have saved the walk from the cave entrance to that junction. It is absolutely critical routing. Wild, I'm calling out Katana -1. Ew. Alright, Volcano's dead. We already checked all those via Bahamut's Horde.
Okay.
Topher at ice. Seems like it always happens that way.
I always tend to find it in Waterfall or Ordeals, and it's usually one of the two places for me.
In my experience, Ordeals is a fiend dungeon just to troll you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see that being a thing.
Alright, so Fiorastar needs to start thinking in terms of, I need to find dungeons and skip everything else.
I think, yeah, I think I would be heading to Cardia at this point. We've already been to Sarda, and we've seen Titan's West. We know what's on the Melman continent. Well, maybe we didn't check Earth Cave.
We did not check Earth Cave.
Okay. But still, the Cardias has the most dense locations. There's 5 locations to enter here. 4 locations? 4 locations. Because the dead ends are not turned on.
Fiorastar did a little bit of an I'm lost dance in there.
I feel that completely.
Like, there was the, I'm going to just fly in a circle real quick, don't mind me. Earth Cave, alright, required dungeon. But this is a significant advantage to Fiorastar now. Siberian Bull, by the way, has not found that floater yet, according to the tracking. So that is a big deal. And that makes sense. I think there was a bit of challenge in the mermaid side, and so Siberian ran over to the Kraken side instead. So, like, all that narrative makes sense to me. Mad Ponies. What a tile.
Mad Ponies with rub.
They're very mad.
And neither of these tiles are worth. I do like checking those tiles. We're already in the room. It makes sense to check them to see if there's advantageous spike tile there. We do have B-side tiles on, so like we could find the 4 Agamas, the 4 Gasties, the 4 worms. Something. What is it? 3 eyes, like the juicy experience. Yeah.
You got to make the band reference when you can, right?
Which one?
It's the 3-eye grind.
Oh, I got you now. My brain's, like I said, it's not running as fast as it should.
Revenant in place of Lich. Not far off, but not quite the same. Turn order across the board. Fiorastar lights his first orb 41 minutes in. Save and then check the tiles. Yes.
Yeah, we can just instant reset out if they aren't anything worth. Now, do you check the other tile on this floor, or is it too much of a walk to even bother?
My secret superpower is I check that on the vampire floor.
That's generally where I try to check it as well. It's
unless it's closet.
Like, unless it encourages me to go check the other rooms with like an Oops All Loose or a random location pre-rod. Like, I don't really have a reason to want to check those rooms. So I'm in the same camp as you are.
Alright, so one Cardia Isle had anything worthwhile. Suddenly that Oxiel and Chime are looking a little sus.
They sure are.
That's Ordeal. We don't care about Ordeals. Yep, we reset right back to on-rack. Hey, look, it's the shop item.
Yay, it's houses, too.
Yeah.
house is really not as important.
Oh,
But still,
no.
that's Black Mage learnable, I think.
Black Wizard learnable for sure, because that's what we got.
Oh, that's right. We did promote.
Looking at the sheet, it is... looks like Red Wizard learnable, too, according to the spoiler notes.
I think that is... that would be the one slot. Oh, and Siberian has come across Mirage, but I missed the entrance.
Was it at Earth? I think it had to be at Earth Cave.
It might have been. Yeah, it would have to be, because we don't have the floater. That's going to feel bad for Fiera Star once we stumble our way back across it.
PCMN just took out the Iron Goals for the crown, which is progress. Alright, so if Fiera Star just did the thing backwards, you check the entrance before you walk out and save, because you know there's no random encounters to ambush you. That way you don't have to do the whole walk back for more deals. That is one of the tricks, is don't save until you've walked in. And the chime was required, as we have now found Volcano at Mirage Tower.
Fantastic.
So that is all 4 of our Fiend dungeons. We also know where Topher is. So once Fiera puzzles out that Earth Cave is required, then we're going to be in a better place.
I think that's what we're going to be down to once we leave this location, because we just checked the ordeals, we've checked the waterfall, we've checked the on-rack dungeon entrance, we've already been to the other side of Titans, and we've seen all the Cardias, so yeah.
The trick is remembering that location wasn't checked when you were on the continent, right?
Which, that can be a hard thing to do, because we got the excitement of, we found the canoe, let's go get the airship, and zoomed right past that entrance. So,
yep. Which is the mechanically correct play. There's no shade being thrown on that.
Oh no, not absolutely.
All right, so Matoya and Hooray are going to be our double dragons tonight.
Yes. All right.
That's a little scary, a little sketch. Matoya is pretty violent, but so is Hooray. Like there are alt fiends that you look at and you're just like, whatever, like as long as I've got a couple of tools, they're fine. Matoya and Hooray are like mid in terms of challenge, but I always recall them being problematic. Fiera Star does remember. The memory is here, so... Alright.
So we're in the no mode now. Shouldn't be too long before we finish this out. So I'm taking a look at the spell list here. Matoya for Fiend 2 spot comes with Brack, Exfer, Cure 4, Zap, Bane, Quad X, all the fun stuff. Hooray also comes with 2 Quad X's, 2 Banes, a Brack, and a Zap. Plus also has the Slow 2, Glance, Crack, Squint, Poison Stone. Already looking really fun. We've got another Bane and another Cure 4 off of the Evil Elf. And what was the last Fiend?
The Revenant.
Yeah, Lich's Alter Ego. Nuke, a Fast, a Slow 2, a Zap, Thundercrack, Poison Stone, and Squint. So that's all the stuff that can be in the pool, along with the nuclears, plus Chaos's spells, if I understand, are still in the pool, even though Chaos doesn't exist, right?
I believe that is correct.
So we have that.
But that also means that some things get thrown onto Chaos that don't, work out.
Right.
So maybe a bunch of those Quad X's go away, and you get the real danger stuff off of Chaos.
X for Brack into Nuke.
I mean, the nuke is sort of whatever, and sometimes the Brack saves you from the nuke, because I believe Soft in Battle is turned on.
Yes, it is.
So, I mean, sometimes that actually pays off. The reverse, it's worse, which is actually what happened earlier when I was playing. That was unfun. So, one of the dangers as we're, crawling up towards potentially a first finisher in the not too distant future, because Fiera Star just needs to clear those 2 orbs and then can start heading at the short Topher. One of the real dangers is, do I have the resources to actually complete this Topher? And if not, how do I get them? And not checking encounter tiles, the spike tiles throughout the game, to know where a good grind is can be devastating.
I know that's definitely caused a few of my runs of these flags to feel pretty terrible. I've definitely given up on quite a few of them, having bashed my head against Topher multiple times and not knowing where a grind is. So, yeah, at least checking the ones that you stumble across, the ones that you walk past, is definitely a good idea, because you can at least get a sense of where not to look for a grind tile whenever you inevitably might need that.
Yeah, and B-sides run a little hot and cold. So, that's the other thing, is like, even if you saw a juicy encounter, that's not necessarily the encounter you want to take.
Right, might be good for experience, but it also might end up being 4 gas Ds with poison damage.
Yeah. Alright, Fiera Star back into the Sea Shrine to light the water orb. Doesn't need to check anything else on the way down.
So Inferno's going to pop up into the air, also has the canoe, has the items we need for go mode. Siberian Bull has the items for go mode. Pac-Man is still hunting down that canoe and canal to get out of the inner sea and get in the air here.
And that canal was Sharknado, if I remember right?
I believe so.
Nope. Bahamut. Bahamut checks had the canal.
And that was through the Titan's wormhole.
Uh-huh.
So, Ruby required.
Ooh, what a rough seed.
You're welcome.
There will be words from our ducks, I'm sure.
I am absolutely sure I'm going to hear a word or two.
Yeah, so many F words. Fun. Fantastic.
Fabulous. Okay.
There's that required chime for Pac-Man.
I do love that 2 of the items that are not necessarily required end up being required for this seed. Two NPC items too that were required, King and Becky.
That is the craziness right there.
Because they usually give you just either chump change, or they'll give you a turn-in item that leads to a chump change, or a wooden stick, or something not useful.
Fiera Star lit the orb and is coming back in. Was there a spike tile that he liked? Is that what we're getting out of this?
I don't recall any of them. Maybe we didn't check them the first time we came through here.
That is a long walk to check for something that you don't know is there.
Yeah.
That's...
It's not fun, and it's doable with Fade and Nuke.
It's not very profitable, though. Like, we're going through 3 casts to take out this pack, and it's less than 4K with all 4 orbs lit on 3 of them.
And now we're only getting 2 of them.
I'd be running from this pack and trying to reset for 5
Yeah.
if I were in that position.
I'd say because this is a 2 to 5 pack, if I'm not mistaken. Or 2 to 6. I think you can get 6 airs on this tile.
Yeah, that's...
Oh,
okay, the Gurnaga helps.
Oh, so this is a Gurnaga and up to 1 to 3 airs then on this tile. This isn't just the plain air tile. That makes sense with the airs being positioned where they are.
Okay. I don't mind the Gurnaga. That really does ramp up the XP quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
I certainly like seeing the Gurnaga more than I like seeing the airs.
This just might have been the only tile that we saw that was even semi-profitable, that we decided this is the tile where we're not going to go searching for something else.
Yeah. I mean, my thought process is I would have checked out the tiles in Volcano on the way down. At least the first 3. Do the free chest on the second floor, and then spikes 2 and 3 you can check on the Agama floor in the first room.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I would have checked those real quick and done that. But Fiera Star is out. Seems to be happy with levels.
27 on the fighter on the knight, and it looks like 25 on the casters.
Oh, that's very reasonable. Alright. Pac-Man, on to this trip to Bahamut's. Weekend at Bahamut's. Alright. We got Revenant 2 coming up on Fiera Star's side. Looks like Swing Fade Nuke Nuke. Nuclear first turn. Leaves the Black Wizard at 2 health.
Just enough.
Oh, baby.
HP is a resource.
It sure is. That the extra levels, clearly. That's where we got it in. Alright, Bull finds the last Fiend dungeon he needs.
Inferno also in that same dungeon.
Yep.
Not too far behind. A little bit ahead, actually. Matoya casting Mute, landing on all 3 of our casters.
Beautiful. And slow too.
Oh, it missed. It missed, though. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
But still, yeah.
Talk about if anything could go wrong, it does. There's one of the Quad X's. Alright. As a reminder, Matoya is in the Double Dragons.
Matoya is weak
That's
to...
real sketch.
She's weak to status magic, too, so there's nothing... I guess we could attempt to confuse, but I don't know that I would bother with that at this point.
Well, there's a Bane taking out only the white man on the Evil Elf 2 fight.
Alright, Evil Elf has the slow 2 as well. So that's 1 slow 2 out of the pool for the Double Dragon fight. Surprisingly, Fire 3 does not do a lot of damage to Evil Elf. Alright, let's see what Hooray has.
Yeah, what does the Hooray do?
X-Fur on the Black Mage.
$515 out of that XCal plus 4. Or XCal plus. I think it's plus big.
Yeah, it's big numbers. I think it was a +4.
It was a real sword.
Oh, the Cure 4.
That's going to be coming back around in the Double Dragon fight. Well, I mean, clearly we take out the Matoya first.
Right. So I have a question about that, and I wasn't sure. Maybe you don't have the answer. Maybe you do. When we're having the Double Dragon fight, do those two fiends start over the script when that battle starts, or do they pick up the script from where the refight's left off?
They pick it up fresh.
Okay. I wasn't clear about that, and I never paid enough attention to know for sure. So thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's just one more encounter, right? Like,
right.
Yeah. So they started completely from fresh, just like any other encounter.
Okay, that makes sense. Ooh, X for coming in on the fighter. And
Into the squint. Oh, there's a little bit of clenching happening over here. Don't mind me. I really am feeling a little sketch about the fact that Fierastar is on black shirt strategy with the White Wizard at this point.
Yeah, that does not feel good.
Not at all. Alright, Matoya down. That is good news. Stone Poison does not hit anything. But we are really digging the bottom of the barrel here with these.
Preemptively casting life?
I think that was intended to be a temper, but I don't know if there was actually a charge of... There is a charge of temper. Okay. It was just in this menu. Okay.
Yep, okay. That makes sense. I've done that quite a few times.
But that is terminated and a GG.
GG's?
59:37, the official racetime.gg time.
And we are joined in the booth by Fierastar. GG's. GG. So, how do you feel about this seed?
The start of that seed was something. Most definitely.
It sure was something.
I don't know. I felt pretty good after I got 2 black shirts, and then went back for 2 more because I couldn't get to Elfland yet. Running the start of the seed with 4 black shirts is not something I've had to do before, so that was entertaining. I was not having good zap luck at all.
So one of the things that, I called out a couple of times in the various practices, that these weird situations of terrible magic are just going to happen in this flag set. Mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting it to be quite this bad. So good job, Mecklin.
Yeah, no problem.
This was really, really something. So also, clearly, good job to you, Fierastar, for managing it as well as you did. It's not an easy flag set. Never has been.
No, it requires a really different way of approaching it, and that is probably why I was getting so frustrated at the very beginning of this week for it. But overall, it is pretty fun in the end. It's just a very, very different way of thinking you have to do for this.
That's why I love it.
Yeah, it definitely requires a lot of out-of-the-box approaches towards how you take on a lot of the early encounters and how you deal with the magic that's given to you at level 1 and level 2. Can you find a caster item in a shop that is cheap enough that you can purchase, which it was for you. Some of the seeds aren't always so kind, and I know Saracen was mentioning a seed they did where Temper was their damaging spell. So it could have been worse.
It could have. That was overall fun, though. The places I went, I didn't really find much good for the white mage overall, but, I kept the shirt on at the end because when I thought about it, the harm spells that I'd seen wouldn't really do any more, and, black shirt's infinitely repeatable. It was just something to do at the end to add a little more damage.
Yeah, it's whenever you're fighting against the Cure 4 like you were, it's definitely something that can just push you over the edge of having enough damage to take them down before they get that Cure 4 out. So, definitely.
I was really leery that Matoya was going to cast a mute immediately, like she did in her refight.
I was worried about that too, but you got Matoya down really fast. That was quite rude of her in the first refight.
And at least you let me get fast and temper off first.
Right. Because then... Oh, did the slow 2 land then?
No.
No? Okay. Alright.
No, I saw 2 or 3 slow 2s, but none of them actually hit.
Okay. I'd say because I remember seeing the mute come out, and then the next turn it was slow 2 onto the knight, and it was like, well, this is just really rude.
No, if that slow 2 had hit, I would have just exited out and changed my order up.
Yeah, that's a good call. Short Topher allows for a lot of quick resets if the Fiend fights don't go so well. I know, for me personally, if the first 2 fights don't turn out very well, I use too many spells, I use too many life magic, I'll just reset out because it's a quick shot right back in. It makes more sense to do it that way than to try to push through on something that's going to end up not working out well for you.
Yeah, this one, after the first couple rounds, I wasn't as worried about the casters living because, and the reason I didn't worry about ribbons is because of the amount of magic defense that the fighter knight ended up getting. That just was a very nice shield through, once I got to level 15 or so. So that was helpful. They got an extra +2 per level.
Oh yeah, that puts them on par with the black belt then.
Bigger than.
Oh, bigger than. Yeah, no, bigger than. Because fighter is 3, and then the rest of them are 2.
And the black belt is 4.
Right.
So yeah, going up to 5 per level is a big deal.
See, I wouldn't have thought of that if I was playing this. That -20 strength would have steered me away from the fighter. Finding the X-Cal +4 might have brought me back, but that definitely, compared to the other weapons that you found, that was definitely going to be the endgame weapon. Did you at any point consider having to use either the black belt or the thief with the dual wield?
I was actively considering the thief, which is why I kept checking weapon shops. I was looking to see if katanas were in the shop for the dual wield, but it just so happened at the point where I would have made that swap, the katana shop also had the X-Cal +5, and I just went, well, no, we'll just keep this because I already have the dragon armor, I already have this and that.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, the dual wield, discovering that the dual wield actually works with the katana definitely changes my approach towards the dual wield thief and wanting to use that, especially in these seeds where you could potentially find katanas for sale. The cat claw also works in place of the Vorpal for getting the extra hits, or just throwing on a knife and getting the 2 extra hits is nice too. But yeah, finding that X-Cal definitely, I think I would have gone fighter first, and if the fighter didn't work and I bashed my head against it too many times, I might have gone back and grabbed a thief.
Just knowing how... Oh, go ahead.
GG's out in chat for Inferna, finishing 2nd place on stream with a 106.30. 3rd place overall. Vaughn finishing at a 104.05.
Hey there, Inferna. GG Inferna. That...
And a yoink. Hi, Inferna. GG.
GG. Oh, that That was a seed.
It was one of the seeds of all time, yes.
Sure was.
That start was so bad. I'm just glad every enemy I ran into, most of them, were Zap and Baneable.
Yes, you did get to learn the power of Zap. Never sleep on Zap strats.
Yeah, the bad magic of this seed was definitely a concern. Though I will sing the praises of the of the Fog 2 when it gets used, but it eventually stopped being relevant, and that's also good.
Yeah, it got to the point, especially in the on the double dragons, the white mage had nothing better to do, so I just had throwing Fog 2 to make the fighter a little tankier.
I mean, every little bit helps.
Finding the shop item.
Yeah, that turn 1 mute.
Yup.
Yeah, shutting down my he only had 1 nuke left in him anyway, but it made the black mage just kind of like, well, I exist.
I'm just gonna stand here and wave.
Yeah. Never found Temper. I just saw Pac-Man found it.
Yeah, what a rude spot for it, right? Like,
I never went over there. I finished up going to Cardia because it's 5 different. Since I had the floater, it was 5 checks and everything was in Cardia, so I never went anywhere else at that point.
Yeah, I checked on Rack just because I was there anyway and I hadn't found it yet, and I really didn't want to have to go to Lefane.
Yeah. I'm just glad I recognized when I got, I think it was the canoe. Whatever the final item was that I picked up. The herb and the crown were completely pointless. Did I ever find Dwarf?
Dwarf was in Canaria Castle, so yes.
Yeah, but I never went back in. I went in there initially at the start of the seed, opened the 2 boxes, walked out, and never went back.
There was one incentive I think I remember being in there. I don't remember if it was important.
It was the herb.
Yeah.
Which I never got.
Thank you to our tracker, Wildham, for putting excellent notes up for us this whole time.
Bull headed back into this Topher.
That Hooray Dwarf 2 fight. That was so sketchy at the end. I thought that Cure 4 that he cast was gonna end me. At that point I was down to a white mage who had nothing in the tank and a fasted knight, but luckily he was hitting for like 500 a pop, so it wasn't that big a deal.
So while our runners are still moving on stream here, just general thoughts about the flag set for the Inferno.
I don't mind the entrance shuffle. I actually like entrance shuffle. Floor shuffle drives me insane, but entrance shuffle I don't mind. These alt fiends were a lot nicer than 3 or 4 seeds of them that I had, and just in a row, back to back to back, every single one, punching for 600 plus, and it's like, it stops being fun when you knock down the Lich 1 fight, you go to the next one, and it's 600 damage punch, somebody dies. 600 damage punch, somebody dies. Over and over and over again. You never even get to see the double dragons.
Been there.
I had one seed where that happened late last night, and I was in Topher for I think 40 minutes. And just said, nope, I'm not doing this anymore, I don't care.
Yeah, there's a point where the seed decides that you're done for the day.
Yeah. Like, sure, I could have like grinded on the Lich tile and gotten to level 50, but at that point, who cares?
Yeah, one of the challenges I've always found in entrance and floor is remembering where the grinds are that are worth taking so that you can actually finish things out.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you end up doing a grind anywhere, Inferno?
Not really. I don't think I saw very many trap tiles, but
Oh, I wish I'd seen that trap tile. Pikmin's scene there.
oh yeah, I saw that.
I was just in Go, so I skipped Volcano. I need to remember to stop by and check the Agama tile.
Yeah, because of where the dungeons were placed, it was get a few items, a little experience, get a crystal. Get the 50% boost. Do it again. Get another crystal. Get another... So it was just like a walking grind as I kept going. Only one that I was real sad about was the box in Heighton Tunnel. I rolled a Giga box. 2 Greater Nagas, 6 water elementals, air elementals, whatever. 6 elementals. Waters, yeah. I think that's what it was, yeah. And just... my mages low rolled just enough that everybody died except the white mage. We got 25,000 experience. No, I'm not keeping that.
You know, it's funny. Like, sometimes you keep that and you just are like, oh, I can recruit and change that to my melee.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to recruit at that point. I already had a fighter who was fine. Actually, I think it was a knight at that point.
Yeah, but you can swap them out.
That's true, but then the time spent swapping and learning all the spells again on the white mage, maybe it would have been worth it. But unfortunately, I decided to reset, try again, and it rolled 1 Greater Naga and 4 waters, and it was only like a 6,000 experience fight at that point.
Yep, I did. Just the most recent one that I found that was semi-decent. I just went back down a couple floors in C and did a Grey Naga water tile. Or, sorry, regular Naga water tile. Which worked.
There you go.
Bull onto the
Responding to a text.
bulls on the double dragons right now. Vorpal +4 is for sale in Crescent Lake. Mm,
Too bad Vorpals are not a knife.
yeah.
It's
Of
too
course,
bad
it
the
doesn't matter as
exile-
long as you have that as your main hand, right?
You need to have both weapon. Your main hand has to be a knife, and then you have to have the knife in the
Oh.
inventory for it to count. I did some
Darn.
serious testing on that whenever the realization that came out with that, whenever there was a lot of discussion about what was usable and what was not usable. Main hand has to be a knife, which can be either a knife, the katana, or the cat claw. And the off hand just has to be a knife as well. And it can be... more knives does not add more hits. It will only count for either 2 hits or 4 hits, depending on which is. Knife is 2 hits. The cat claw and katana will give you an extra 4 hits.
Nice.
Oh, the Brack lands on Bull. And there comes a forfeit, which I get. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
this is a
frustrating.
rough seed.
Yeah. Yeah, you really had to go hard and beat the blue dragon. I think that was Hooray Dwarf. You had to really go hard and beat him.
I actually
first.
took down Matoya first, because the Matoya refight, she turn 1 cast mute and got all my casters.
Oof. She did that to me as well, but I only had one caster that got hit by it. So I was like, oh, okay. And it was a caster who was basically out of gas.
So, realizing just now, as the tracker has updated as well, Pac-Man never found the floater? And this is also a floaterless seed, I think.
No. Toph is...
Toph is ice.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
Toph is ice. Yeah.
Volcano
think
was Mirage Tower. Earth was Bahamut, which is behind
Yep.
the dock.
Yep.
So, yeah, and then
Yeah.
we know Sea Shrine for sure, and Pac-Man's in air right now.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I never heard of the seed.
So floaterless, but the ruby and the chime were required, and the canal. The canal was actually hard required too.
Yes. Yeah, you couldn't do anything until you got the canal.
You needed the ruby to get to the canal too,
Mm-hmm.
which was the even better part.
Yeah, there's so much in Bahamut Cave. that was very funny, walking through Titan, walking up to Titan West, and I was like, oh, hello Bahamut. Oh, hello all the items. Great.
Such
I
a
did go
funny
back-
seed.
Yeah. I did go back and look at the math, though. With the results we got, with Fiera Star being first, Vaughn being second, and me being third, we have a 3-way tie for first.
That's fantastic.
We got the result I wanted.
That's incredible. I mean, that means that you're all three going to be in the finals.
Yep.
Who's looking forward to more Winter Tournament? Winter Tournament
yeah,
final
actually.
flags too, so it's like the real hard stuff.
They're fun flags. They're nothing to worry about. Don't even worry. They're easy. Just prepare for an early skydive.
I mean, I think this week really solidified just the early diving of things. So, no worries.
I was gonna say, it's not much worse than early C, so
Yeah.
I think I would prefer Sky.
God, that early C. I walked in thinking, I'm just gonna make the attempt. I have access to Kraken, whoever was actually there. I'm gonna walk in, I'm gonna make the one attempt. I've got a little bit of power. Make the attempt to get through it. And it basically rolled over and that was it. I was fully expecting to get bounced out and just like, all right, I'll come back.
I did all the chests and then left it the heck alone and just came back at the end. Which ended up working out well for me, because this trap tile Pikmin's next to is what I did my little bit of leveling on. That bonus health on these feeds, on the fiends, always feels better after a bit of grinding.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I exited out, especially out of C. I exited out so many times to not lose,
Progress.
Yeah, progress. Lose items. Yeah. Open 2, 3, 4 boxes. Exit. Save it.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to play it. As Vaughn talking in chat about that too. Getting a box and C, exiting out, save your level, save your progress, dive back in. It's a lot better than feeling bad whenever you take that second box and that second box wipes your progress and you have to walk all the way back down to the mermaid side to get that again. So
See, I didn't know about those, Vaughn. I'm not as familiar with the alt fiends, so what their weaknesses are and the ways to mess with them. I do not know that, so it was just nuke 'em, fade 'em, punch 'em. I had Bane and Wizard Staff. I'd known that.
So looking at the race room, it looks like Pac-Man's still running. So we're going to head over towards final thoughts and then raid over, I think. So we'll start with you, Fiera Star, first on stream. Final thoughts.
Entrance Shuffle is a lot more fun than Floor Shuffle. It's a lot less confusing, though Floor Shuffle has its own charm to it. The alt fiends of any caliber are definitely something I need to study up a lot more on, because I finished learning all the regular fiends, but all these ones, like Vaughn had made a spreadsheet of the weaknesses. That would have been nice to know that we could use the free Bane Sword or the Wizard Staff on a few of these, especially as they were a little cantankerous here and there. But overall, it's a lot of fun. It's really helped to just learn some different ways to approach these seeds, especially without any encounters.
All right. Inferna, your final thoughts.
Very, very similar to Aerostars. The fiends can be mean in this, especially with the extra scaling. Entrance, we didn't have it, but entrance and town shuffle, I definitely like those as a set. Floor shuffle is confusing, despite the fact I won last week. And having this be functionally a floaterless seed is just mean. Poor Pac-Man.
Looks like they both decided.
Out. Yep.
Fair. Yeah, you get to this point in the seed, if you don't know where Topher is, and I don't know that Pac-Man ever hit up Ice Cave to find that out.
No, they didn't have Canoe.
Oh, never actually talked to King either. Okay.
Oh yeah,
That's a rough one. Yeah, we were talking about that because like the NPCs generally don't have required items, and if they do have a key item, it's usually a useless thing like the adamant or the herb. So it actually having an item that you really need to complete the seed, just wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was something else that I had noticed. So there are 16 marked boxes.
Potentially.
Up to 16. Yeah.
Okay. But there are 2 free items we get, but there are a total of 18. But generally that means there's going to be at least 2 NPCs with something. Whether or not it's relevant is...
One to 2, because you can still have shop.
Well,
yeah,
yes and no. So the way I understand it, the randomizer will give you a minimum of those 16 boxes, but because key items are put inside of marked boxes, they can create an additional 1 or 2 marked boxes where the NPCs don't actually have anything, and you end up having to hunt down those last chests. I do remember that being a thing that came up in a few seeds during Fall League, where runners had found the 16 boxes and then were confused about where their final items were, and it turns out that the rando just added an extra marked box. So something to think about.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not how I would have expected it to work, and that makes it a little
Long story short, don't ignore the NPCs.
yeah.
Was
Yeah.
the canoe? Like, I have no clue.
Welcome in, Pac-Man, GG's.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah, I could not find the canoe. I didn't know. I kept trying to look back and just check my notes. I couldn't figure out where was it?
The King at Titan's East.
At Titan East. Okay, where was
Yeah.
Topher then? Because I didn't find
Ice
Topher.
Cave.
You needed the canoe to get there.
So you need the canoe to get to Ice Cave. Oh, I never talked to the King. That's why I forgot he was on to talk to before you could kill Garland.
Yep.
That gets me. Okay,
Or-
that makes sense then. If I realized that, that would have been so much easier.
Yeah, you needed to talk to the king and then either activate the floater or just row
Go to
your way
ice.
up there.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I had the floater. I had everything. I got everything but the canoe, and I'm checking everywhere for chests. And I talked to all the NPCs I could think of, and didn't even think of the king. Yeah, that's that. Well, that I learned from that one. That's for sure. I won't miss that again.
Yeah, early King is sometimes just a little bit confusing.
I'm gonna point that out though too for you all coming up on the finals flag set. Early King can come into play when Toph ends up being chime locked and the king has the chime and the princess has your piece of progression. So just keep that in mind for whenever you're practicing the final flags.
Good piece of advice there. Thank you.
Wow, that was a series of thoughts right there.
I've had it happen. That's why I know.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm sure. Like that's the only reason that you come up with these sorts of things, right? Like,
Right, because you find out through experience. So I like to put the experience that I have had out there to people. It's a thing that can happen. You're probably going to forget about it in the moment, though. But just keep that in the back of your brain somewhere.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I kind of. I admit I fixated on the right side of C there because I wasn't thinking left. I was like, if right is this bad, left's probably gonna be bad. And I'm like, I see these marked chests, I want to get them. I've got Zap and Bane. Let's see what happens. And I just wasn't seeing progress otherwise. So, GG's to everyone that finished. So,
Yeah, that's how I
That
got
was
to
a start of the seed. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just want to point out that a second ago on stream, you walked into Canaria Castle at Titans East and like walked 5 steps in, and then we're like, nah.
Well, I was double checking and stuff. I'm like, do I have things written down? Like, I've got a little notepad with the location. I'm like, do I have the right location? Did I check these boxes? Yeah, I did. Okay, let's go out. And I was just fixated on boxes, at that point. So.
Yeah, I did that in a practice seed that Fryteeth actually showed up in chat briefly for a moment. I forgot about Elf Treasury.
Yep.
No.
That's an easy one to forget.
I mean, that's why I double-checked Astos, just to make sure there was nothing in the treasury there. I was like, okay, maybe there's something in the Elf, Astos' treasury. Maybe I missed that since he didn't have an item. But I was just trying to think like that stuff, like, hey, where else might I look that I might have overlooked, or kind of like those things, Elf Treasury or Astos Treasury and whatnot.
So, all right, a quick last thought from me, because I see the map up, and therefore this comes to mind. So when I'm looking at the map, the top right is a bird, the top left is a seahorse, and I'm trying to figure out what exactly Melmond and the whole area around the volcano are that sort of align. And the best I can come up with is that Melmond sort of looks like a drill, like one of the old-timey prank ones. And is it like a bonfire shape-ish for volcano? I really hope that there's some sort of coherent shape. I just don't know. What do you think?
I've always seen the dragon, the bird for the Gaia Lefane area. The left side, Onrak, always looked like a disfigured face to me. I've never seen a seahorse before. A disfigured face is what I always see.
I think it's like a who's the artist? A Picasso face.
Yes, exactly.
The southern continent area, it largely just looks like a blob to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing darts at the wall with this bonfire thing because it kind of looks like a pile of poop. But I'm trying to be charitable and find the connections here. I think it's funny that I'm the only one who seems to see the seahorse.
I tried to see it and I just can't see it. I don't know. It's just not there for me.
I get that. Alright, well, I think we should wrap on up here. Pac-Man, since you're here, we ran through final thoughts before you got into the booth for the other runners, so your final thoughts.
Double check, the NPC stuff, but I think, it was an interesting seed. Those iron golems in C, they're in that bottom right chest, were no fun, but eventually got through that. But otherwise, GG's to everyone that ran it. I know it was a tough seed, but GG's to everybody. Definitely, it was whether you got through it or not. Good job for going at that one. It was something. We'll say that.
Mecklin, your final thoughts.
GG's to everybody that ran the seed. I'm sorry I gave you a terrible seed, but at the same time, I think you've all come away from this learning a thing or two. And yeah, that's what the Duck Boot Camp and Derby is all about, is learning. So,
and not letting Mecklin roll seed. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. I might become the new enemy number 1 for rolling seeds here soon. So, just want to give a huge shout out to Wildham doing solo tracking for 4 people on an entrance tracker where we have loose items. Not an easy feat, and Wildham was able to keep up on our notes, keep us in check in the booth, and to keep the items in play. So huge shout outs to Wildham. Also, thank you, Saracen, for helping me out in the booth tonight, and thank you to the Duck Dons for putting on this the show for us, the Duckling Derby. Pass it back to you, Saracen.
I do want to echo thank you to everybody who's participated in the Duck Boot Camp and the Duck Derby so far. We've got another race in the morning, which is craziness to me that we're waking up on a Sunday for the last pre-finals race to find out who else will be facing in the finals. It's exciting. Shout outs to Wildham again. Fantastic tracking. It is so hard to keep track in this flag set for 4 people. Honestly, when I was playing it, it was bad enough just keeping track for myself. So huge shout outs to Wildham for the solo tracking on this. Thank you, Mecklin, for restreaming and comms. And, thank you everybody for coming out and watching this race. This one's a wild one. If you missed the beginning, go back and watch it. It is a very interesting start / terrifying start. So I think this is a great educational flag set. I was really glad that we could fit this into both the boot camp and the derby. And I think it really brings people forward into that competitive zone, right? Where things got real. And it was great being here to comment, and I love seeing this flag set come back after both SGL and Fall League last year. So with that, see y'all back in the morning when I believe Luffy and Windfox will be doing comms for that race. We'll find out the other 2 potentially more runners that will be going into the finals. Thanks all. Have a wonderful night.